Yeah, the good head. I'm glad you had a good thing. That's good. That's awesome, bro.
Yeah, no doubt.
Boys, we're getting after it, huh?
We're on the show, man. We're live. We're ready.
Oh, here we go, man. Ready to roll. Let's rock
Yeah.
and roll. Live. Oh, you got the Yukon gear on. I love it.
Yeah, it's Yukon. Yeah, we lost, so we're out of there. So I don't even know where I'm wearing it.
Can we win one game? Can we get past the first round?
I know one Yukon basketball team that always wins.
Yeah, well, yeah. They're gonna win every year.
Or they're going to be like at the possible chance of a championship every year. I mean,
Yeah, the bad year for them is that they don't make the Final Four or something, or not even that. Don't even make the finals. That's it. That's a down year.
He might be like one of the top 5 coaches of all time in any sport.
Well, he has to be. Yeah, he has to be.
Him, Wooden.
Yep. It's hard in football, though.
Football's hard.
Football's hard. Football's hard.
I mean, Belichick's obviously up there.
Yeah, he's up there. But so, like, I always think that people forget about like a guy like Paul Brown. Like, he has to be in the list.
He won $1 million. Yeah.
Well, not only that, though, he invented the playbook. Like he was the first guy to have a playbook. He was the first guy to film practices and get like he did everything. So like he made what it is now for all these other guys.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Well, I was watching something and they were talking about great coaches, and they were just talking about, and I think Belichick said it. He's like Paul Brown like started all of this stuff, and then everybody just kind of took it and ratcheted it up. But like if you don't have the first guy like to start the playbook. Right. So you can't leave him off any list, anyone. So it's not like, but yeah, he was the first guy to film practices and the first guy to have playbooks.
That's interesting.
Right. I mean, so it's kind of tough. And apparently his, how do you have the coaching trees?
Yeah.
Like everybody, his tree is like, yeah. Is like the 6 degrees of separation, right? It's like somebody who was under Paul Brown birthed Belichick or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
my God, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Paul. Yeah. So Paul and the Browns are his team. That was his team, right? He owned the Browns.
Yeah,
he wasn't just the coach of the Browns. He owned the Browns.
It's crazy, right?
Yeah,
crazy. I mean, that's crazy when you think about it. You know what else is crazy? Not to get all up on the coaches.
Yeah. No,
I'm sure you want to talk about.
I don't know.
You like it?
Yeah.
I like this conversation about coaches just because, like, it's the same like with players, right? Like you gotta keep the guys generational, right? Because like there's no doubt for this time of free agency and teams not staying together and players not gelling and kind of going from team to team, it's Belichick. Because he's been able to figure out how to make that work without like having to like be terrible and rebuild, right? Like he's been able to be consistently good with a system.
Right.
Now the teams that he had, I don't think from a cohesion standpoint could compete with like the 70s Steelers and the 80s Niners, because those teams, like those players stayed together like forever. So like they built teams, like the chemistry was unbelievable. Like everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like a different, the athlete is different. You got to take that out.
Yeah.
Like the athlete, right? You can't compare a 70s team to a team now just because the athletes are different now with training and size and all that stuff.
I think training is the biggest factor. Is why the biggest factor. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think as human beings we've changed that much, but I think that as over the last 20 or I would say 20 maybe or 30, 25, 30 years, training went to a different level. Supplementation, like legal supplements. People illegal supplements, but how good the legal supplements have become.
Absolutely. The legal supplements, the nutrition training regimens, the fact that the guys are getting paid so much they don't have to work in the off season. Like those guys back in the day were like, yo, I'm a used car salesman in the off season. I'm driving a truck.
Even in the 80s they were.
Yeah. Yeah, guys had to work.
They had to do some stuff. They had to work. That's pretty. It's pretty. Yeah, I wonder what like Red Grange did in the offseason. He was the first, like, wasn't he the first paid, like, really paid guy? Was he the guy that went to University of Illinois, like in the 30s or something? Or
I don't remember. I just know that they didn't make much.
Pro football was invented with I think it was him.
That's
because he was. I should really look this up because I don't want to say the wrong person. If I think of it, because I just remember 30 in my head as a 30 for 30. I think. Okay, yeah, yeah, it is him. So Red Grange, this is just wild. So Red Grange went to University of Illinois. College football this is like the 30s, you know. I mean,
right?
Yeah, college football was way bigger. The pro football was like as ragtag as it gets. It was basically semi-pro, you know. I don't know if the Steelers were invented yet, but there was the Chicago Bears. Okay. And the Chicago Bears was George Halas. And George Halas had the idea that if he could pay Red Grange really good money, because he was the most popular college football player, and pay him some real money, that he would play football only and wouldn't have a job on the farm or something.
That's funny.
And that's what he basically did. So Red Grange basically, there was, I couldn't even tell you the names of these teams. It was like weird names for teams back then. Like it was
Red
like
Stockings.
Yeah, it would be like the Waylock golden retrievers. You know?
That is great.
But he would go from train to train, and he played like an incredible amount of football games because basically all the games were in the pros were Red Grange going on a train with his team playing some other team, and that would be the other team's only game.
Wow, that is crazy.
That's
what it was.
They would make money from that game. So these other teams might play a couple of games, but history doesn't really have too much on them. They have the games when Red Grange came into town and played. Wow. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of the beginning, and he was dominant, and you know everybody looked like they were running in slow motion back then. And obviously, he probably ran a 10-9 100-meter dash, and everyone thought he was really fast.
Yeah. That is great. That is great.
You know, so so I think I said, if I was alive in the 30s, maybe I might have been a legend. You never know.
Yeah, if you could just,
I wouldn't have lifted though, so I probably wouldn't have been.
No, you have to get it in the time machine and go back, like with your body.
Yes, with your body, right?
Just dominate, just
dominate.
Like little kids. So crazy, but I think the coaches
Hill back then. Could you imagine Tyreek Hill going back in the Wayback Machine? No. And Tyreek Hill, I'd like to plop Tyreek Hill in like the Wayland Golden Retrievers team and Red Grange comes into town, and they're like, "Who is this guy? Is he allowed to play in this game?" It's just run around, scoring touchdowns like every play.
Every play. Just throw a little swing pass. Just give it.
They're like, what is that, a pass?
That is great.
So fun.
But yeah, man, it's interesting. But yeah, when you talk about coaches, like I always talk about Shula. I mean, I don't think the guy had a single like losing season for like 30 some years. If I'm not mistaken, he never had a losing. I think he had winning seasons every year, like at least 9 wins or whatever it was. If it was 14 games, he had 8 wins, like every year. And
great.
Shula was great. I think Landry was phenomenal as well. Like Landry was great. I think Landry, if I'm not mistaken, now maybe you know this. I want to say Tom Landry invented the 4-3 defense.
I don't know that, but I thought he also might have invented the shotgun too.
May have. Wait. So which is the defense that the Steelers run? with all the linebackers. That's 3-4, right?
I'm not sure. I really don't remember
because I think
was a big defense in the 80s. I
think the 4-3 is the one where so like the 3-4 is when you need like linebackers for days, right? Because you gotta have like guys that athletic linebackers, right, to play the 3-4. You gotta have like a lot. Compared to the 4-3,
they have to cover more ground. The 3-4 linebackers are like the inside guys, basically, on the inside. The outside guys are your pass rushers, and
So the 4-3 is a little less. You can do It's a little more D-line, less of the.
It's more D-line orientated,
right? So I think that's the one that Landry actually invented.
Oh, right, because he had the doomsday defense. Dallas's doomsday with who was it again? It was Ed Too Tall Jones.
Randy White. Yep.
Those two guys were
animals.
They
forgot who the other guys were, though.
I can't believe I forgot this because I used
to. That's your squad, dude.
That was my squad. I used to be so, and I would get their football cards, and I would be like, oh man, how come Randy White only has 4 sacks every year, and we would have like 8,
Yeah. Randy White was a beast, though.
He was good because he was more. I think he might have been the strong side, and because the 4-3. If that is the case, I'm gonna look this up real quick.
Look it up. I'm almost.
The strong side, and the weak side the strong side guy is really a run stopper, especially in the 90s and 80s.
Yeah.
What was sad about Tom Landry, I always thought, and obviously Jimmy Johnson is one of my favorite coaches too, but I still felt the sadness for Landry. He was known as the most creative guy back in his time, one of the most creative guys in his time, if not the most creative. And in the end, it was the fact that he lacked the ability to kind of move with some of the new stuff.
Yeah.
That did him in. I always thought that was sad because he was always thought of as like he must, like, as he was ending his career, and he's a coach, so he understands how it works, but he had to go home at some nights and say to himself, geez, I was once considered the innovator.
I know. Well, I think at the end of the day, every coach just wanes out. You just get older and you wane out. Like, I think it happens to every coach. Tom Landry, what did he coach for 30 years?
Other than Nick Saban.
Yeah, Nick Saban. I don't know what he does. But
apparently, according to Rush Pro, the famous high school coach is a very controversial guy. He had 2 families at one time, married both of them.
Oh my God!
The county over in Alabama.
A high school coach?
Yeah, he was. Remember? All right. Do you remember Two-A-Days? The show Two-A-Days on MTV?
Yes.
With Hoover High School?
Yes.
Powerhouse. He was the head coach of Hoover.
Pete and Repeat. That was one of my favorite. Remember that guy?
Yes.
It's one of my favorite things of all time. This is my son, Repeat. I thought that was so clever.
That was. That was such a groundbreaking show because
I love that show.
Having sports now, you see all these, right?
Yep.
It's amazing because MTV now is so stagnant and like they don't do anything good. But they had so many. Well, I don't want to get too far off this tangent because I do want to actually talk. They did it at one time. So many innovative shows.
I know.
They invented basically half the stuff you see now.
I know.
Now,
it's amazing.
Tom Landry of television.
That's what happened. That's it. It's over. Wasn't he coach for 29 years? I think he was a Cowboy coach for 29 years.
He was the head coach forever. Listen, remember how they used to stand up before they would get set?
Yes.
That was my favorite thing. That was my favorite thing with all my friends. I would always tell the linemen, like when I was playing, like running my court, I'm like, you guys got to pop up before you go down. Of course, they were all Giants fans, so they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And I would be like, no, man, you got to pop up, then go down.
That is so great.
29 seasons,
Cowboys.
right? 29 seasons. And I did wonder who invented the shotgun, because you know what I think I got that from?
Oh, from the movie, Remember the Titans.
Right, and at the time of the Remember Titans, he was the offensive coordinator, I believe, of the Giants. I thought.
Oh.
So because that was the 60s, right? Or no, was that early 70s? Maybe it was after him. Okay, here we go. There's a whole thing on this. I don't want to read about all the single wing and all this stuff. I just want to know
who invented the shotgun. Just tell me.
Just an answer, Google, for goodness sake. I mean, you give us everything else. You suppress half the world. Can you just tell me what? I mean, a shotgun isn't controversial.
They're going to get canceled. They're going to cancel the shotgun.
I've already been canceled probably 50 times in my career.
That's great.
Just make it 51. Let me see. The shotgun. Give me the history. The history of the shotgun evolved from a single wing in the 30s. 40. Hall of Fame coach implemented the shotgun with Tommy. Okay, so it was actually implemented in the 40s. But why do I? Here's why. The Jets briefly experimented with it with Joe Namath because of his bad knee. And then the formation was not used on a regular basis in the NFL until 1975, and then only by the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. There you go.
With Roger Staubach. So it's no NFL teaches the formation during this time. Some believed it was invented by Tom Landry. Landry simply dusted off the old innovation to address a pressing problem. Staubach had an inexperienced offensive line, and he wanted to give them. And then they basically rolled with it. He realized that he was so smart.
So smart. Great man of faith too.
Yes, great
and Staubach. As much as
about that.
Yeah, as much as I hated the Cowboys, now I appreciate him and Staubach more because they were just great guys, godly men.
Yes.
And you want to talk about Staubach, dude. Staubach, dude, he was really smart too. Like, do you know he's worth like $600 million or $7? It's like. And to have been able to build that,
I read his book.
Yeah, I mean, for him to be able to build that business, like back then, like when he to build it to what it is, like that's phenomenal. And he did it. You know what? Listen, he did a lot of goodwill, man. If you watched his football life, did you watch the Staubach football life?
The Staubach, I don't think I've seen it now. I probably have.
That's your guy, bro. Like listen, I've watched a million of those, and that one might be my favorite. It's one of my favorite ones, and I don't like the Cowboys, but I love Roger Staubach for the man that he was. You know what I mean? Like you appreciate that stuff when you get older. You know, like. The kind of man that he was, just a great man,
great guy, definitely, and faith is so important to him. And his book, it's an older book, and I don't know how. Oh, that's right. That's when I was doing my Amazon. This is like 4 years ago. I was selling books on Amazon, and I was actually making a coin doing it. And I would come across these books, and I would read the ones I liked before I put them up there. I'll have to tell you that strategy, by the way. It's a very successful strategy. People, but I went away from it because Amazon started stacking me with fees, which supposedly they got away from now. I was way too far ahead of the curve. I was selling books, making like an extra $1,000 a week.
Nice.
I saw a video of a guy that was saying, I was like, I can do this. So I would go to thrift these book sales at like churches or libraries, and they would, they get overflow with books, and they want people, and you go in there and you literally pay $5 a bag, as many books as you can put in the bag. I'd come out of there with like $200 for $20. Wow. Yep. So
did you have like a method to what books you were?
At first, my method was I was trying to figure out high value books. And then I saw a video and the guy said, who cares? You don't get every book that you can within certain categories, categories that you think you like and that you'd position. So I was like, history, sports was for me. I did history, sports. I think I did a lot of biographies, like things that kind of and his thought process was, there's some of those that you're going to like. And if for some reason you don't sell them, you put them in your own library shelf, you keep them, that was kind of the thought process. So, and then you just ship them off. So here's a business tip for people. You could do this with any product in Amazon. There's some categories that are they have to approve you for. So, but books, oh gosh, there's a few categories. It's been a while since I did. But books, you would take the books, you would put them in a box, and you get the label right off of Amazon. Ship it right to Amazon. They store it for you. They send it out for you. It's unbelievable. You just do the listing. You put the listing in. You send them out, and then the listing's pretty easy because as you start to type in the book, chances are Amazon has it 98% of the time. I think there was a couple obscure books like Pittsburgh's Best Business Owners. That book wasn't in there. When I tried to say, this was not in there. We're going to do with this thing. It still sits on my shelf. Pittsburgh's Best Business.
You should have looked at the label on that one first before you grabbed it.
I should have looked at it. I was just like this. I should have just been like, Pittsburgh Best Business Owners. What are we going to do with that? Maybe one day it would be worth $1,000 if any of those guys are famous. I didn't know any name. It wasn't Carnegie, I can tell you that.
That's funny.
So, so you do that. And I'm sure it's evolved a little bit since the 4 or 5 years ago when I did it. But and then people just go to Amazon, they order, and it goes out automatically.
Wow.
You don't do anything. So your hardest part is going to find the book. And really, what I learned is you should probably stick more with the bigger names books. Some of the bigger name books don't go for much because there's so many of them. And then try to find just take some upfront research and look at the popular things and the better prices, spreads and stuff. There's apps that do it for you now. There's actually apps. So
unbelievable.
Yeah, there's apps that do it. I was just highly impatient, and I just wanted to get as many books as I can in my category, get them out and go. But all of a sudden, you look up and you're like, $200 that day, $300 that day. You're like, whoa! And the better you do, the better the books are. The more you need, your ratings go up, and then you start. And here's how Amazon gets you. Then you start to do well. You say, hey, I'll just use Amazon has their own advertising. Advertise for $50 a day on Amazon. Okay. Your store. If you see, if you go on Amazon ever to buy anything, I'm sure you have, you go in there and let's say we're going to buy socks. There's usually some featured company up at the top. They're paying to be there.
Wow.
So companies that are paying, in some categories, it doesn't cost much at all. I'm sure socks, maybe not socks, but if you were selling tight fit shirts, probably would cost an arm and a leg, to do that.
Right.
But if you were selling, I don't know, nonfiction books on religion, you may not, because
right.
A very popular category. It's not a heavily advertised category, and kind of that manipulating that marketplace is incredibly effective. So you could actually do a lot. And what ends up happening is then you build these cool relationships. So people like your books, they inbox you, blah, blah, blah. And you send them a discount. So let's say you were doing Christian books, right? We're doing Christian books.
Right.
Me and you have developed a Christian book business. Boom, 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 boom. All right. And by the way, Christian books are almost the easiest to get, because I would grab every time I get Christian books, because I didn't really, even though I'm a born again Christian, I didn't really understand the Christian book category.
Right.
So I would get books I would want to read, so I'd keep them. But I never put them out there because there's so many Christian books. If you went to one of these things, you'd be shocked. You would be great to go with because you would be able to be like, hey, this is like this. You would thumb through it a little bit, like this.
Right.
Yeah, this is not what you want, right?
Yeah.
And so like when I first started doing it, I'd be like, oh, TDJ's great. And Joel Osteen, perfect. I got it.
Hey, they can sell well though.
What's that?
They sell well though.
Probably. Oh no, they sell well. Yeah, no,
right? They sell well.
Those would be so if you you would lead with that actually. So here's an interesting thing, and this is I know this is going way off, but if I was
we're way off.
Business advice. This is really because I just went through it and I did well with it. I just didn't understand the Amazon fee part when it changed from my introductory fee and they started zapping me. And then they went away from that a year ago, I heard, from zapping people because people were jumping off like me. I was like, whoa. I was like, this is crazy. So I went from making incredible profits to making like very little. And I was like, what's the point?
Yeah.
But so what was interesting, what was I just about to say about Christian books? It was
you lead with those
with Joel Osteen or TD Jakes if you were like to advertise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you have your all your books, right? So what's really cool about it, some of the books that might be better for people who really want to gain the knowledge of Christianity and other books might be better. And by the way, also might be more profitable too, because than a Joel Osteen or a T.D. Jakes, but those will sell. You sell a lot of those, right? You might make a buck or two on them, which is not good. But then you might have some other ones that are really great books that people go to that you make $4 or $5 on. And it like goes really quick. So once all of a sudden I went from having when I first started, I was just sending like a handful of books at a time. And I was like, what if I just kept sending them like 100 books a week? And I was just started sending 100 books a week. And I was hitting all these places. It was great. And I would come back and Nicole would be like, how was the book sale? I said, oh, it's always like older ladies, who like retired or older men. And understand. And I would be chatting it up with these guys because I would be getting so many books, right? And Troy used to come with me when he was like a baby, like one.
Yeah.
So I would be chatting it up with these people. And it was so much fun. I'm telling you.
That's awesome.
You'd be talking with older people. They would see the books you grab, and they'd be like, "Hey, here's another book. Like a book in this category you might like is this." And I'm like, "I see that you might do the Amazon book selling thing." They're like, "These books, we have a few more of these. These sell." And they would tell you these, and they were older people, like just giving back. You know what I'm saying? And it was all donations. So it would be like a church. Like there was one that Middletown over here, the church. It would be money to go to church. So I would do you're paying $5. I would give them another $40 or $50. Just hey, pay.
Yeah.
I would come out there with 200 books. I'd give them 40 or a 20 or a 10, whatever. And because it goes to their church or it go to like a library, like really good causes.
Right.
It couldn't fit them anymore in their own library. They're getting new books and stuff like that. And so it was really cool. It was like a business. You felt like, oh, I'm kind of giving back too. I'm making money, but I'm giving back because I'm donating on the front end and then making money. So anyway, long and short of it is, Amazon could be like people who are trying to make some side money.
Yeah.
You could really make some good money, and it's not hard if you understand how to do it. And there's endless videos on it. That's the end of that. Back to Tom Landry, and I know you got to run.
Yeah, I do have to run, but let's talk Tom Landry real quick.
Yeah,
because I think Tom Landry, first of all, it was think about how much more he would have won if not for the 70 Steelers, right? Like we're stacked, and that's another guy.
Noll.
Like, if you look at Noll,
and
I yes, so I'm a little biased, but if you put, I would put, I probably would put Landry ahead of Noll, right? But Noll, when you look at how he was able to draft, and like just him, his the guys he had under him that were scouting,
right?
They just did incredibly well in the draft. I mean, like the one draft with Lambert and Swan and Stallworth all in the same draft. They had some other like that's all you need to say. John Stallworth, Lynn Swan, Jack Lambert in one draft, and not to mention. I mean, these are legends, not just Hall of Famers. Like they're legends. Like and I mean, he just was able to turn. I mean, and the Steelers were absolute trash before he got there. They were like the worst team in the league. And then he just, he got Joe Green, and he figured out how. One thing that Noll figured out what to do, he figured out how to get the right players to make it work. Like he said, listen, I can't play football. So I'm going to make sure I get the right players. And that's the one thing he did well. And he only coached, I think he maybe 23 years, but
he was unbelievable.
And towards the end, like he was,
I know he got written out like Tom Landry too.
Yeah, because he just couldn't, he couldn't, he was a real rough, scruff guy too. Like nobody, like he wasn't nice. Like him and Bradshaw, like still has pain, like nightmares. He still has pain over his relationship with Noll. He talks about it. Because like Noll was just just not nice to him. But like the thing about Noll is like I think he was really like intellectual type of guy. Like and he was just like football was just another like form of intellect for him. You know what I mean? So like he wasn't a warm and fuzzy guy. So I think a lot of I think as the generations go on, you need to be a little more warm and fuzzy, and that's why he didn't last. He's like I can't be warm and fuzzy because I got to coach.
It's it's funny because we grew up in a different era. It's so interesting in how kids evolve and stuff like that. And I think it's and Chuck Noll, by the way, what position do you think he played? He was a pro football player, by the way, just so you know.
Chuck Noll played football. I did not know that. DB.
He played for, first of all, and this goes to what you said earlier. No, he was not DB. He was a guard and linebacker.
Guard.
Well, a guard and linebacker. Remember back then they were two platooning, I guess, or whatever.
No wonder he's smart, though. Yeah. Linemen have to be smart.
So yes, I agree. So many offensive linemen are so smart.
Mm-hmm.
Linebackers would be really smart, except we get hit in the head too much. I always just say like there was a time when I was a genius. It just it ended somewhere around 24 when I had just been hit that many times. All right, so Cleveland Browns he played for 7 years.
Wow.
So he played for Paul Brown.
There you go.
And he obviously blocked for Jim Brown. Jim Brown had to be his running back.
What years did he play?
53 to 59. And how about this? I'll go read this. It's just so interesting. This goes to exactly what you're saying. You're dead on. So he wasn't selected until the 20th round. People don't realize the draft used to have 9,000 rounds. Which, by the way, I wish they just still had. You know why?
Yeah.
Because so many guys would get, like, in the old days, remember you'd see, like, so-and-so was drafted in the 19th round. And, like, remember you'd get and be like, what?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just too long.
The 19th round, like what
19th round,
1,000th best player in the country.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
There are guys that made it, and kind of free agency is taking that place now. But I still think it would have been cool to have I kind of like that about baseball. They're just like they draft 70 rounds, and every guy's gonna feel like they're the greatest. Because they got
at least you got drafted, right?
Yeah, you can all say they got drafted. They draft like 10,000 guys.
That's so crazy. I remember even when we were in school, they still had 12 rounds.
They still had 12. I wish they still had 12 rounds.
Yeah.
I would have had a shot to go in the 15th.
That's great. That is great.
Oh God. Yeah, that's
you know what I think? I think it was 12. I want to say no, but I want to
college. It was right before we went to college. Dropped down.
I want to say it was 12, up until like the middle of when you came to UConn, like the first couple. Because I want to say Matt DeGennaro, like those, like him and like maybe Corny Burton, like those. I just think of those two because I know they were like
Corny Burton might have got drafted.
I think he might have gotten drafted like late, like 11th or 12th round. You should look that up and then I think the next year they went to 7.
Yes, because it's Cornelius Benton, right?
Cornelius Benton, yep.
I remember the legend because he was behind Matt DeGennaro.
He was bad,
and everybody thought he was really good too. And he had a cannon, right?
He had a
started 1 year, right? Is that what it was?
He only started 1 year, but I mean, listen, Matt had a lot of equity. Matt had done very well, right, but it was always a controversy, though, right? Everybody wanted the backup.
Yeah, I didn't know.
That's people always wanted the backup, right?
Right. Is that what was going on?
You know how people always want the backup, right? But Matt, Matt was great, like But listen, I was a redshirt, so like I didn't know. I'm like, listen, man, I'm just trying to freaking play. Like I'm trying to figure out what I can do on scout team so I can travel.
I just remember, right, exactly. Yeah, you didn't know.
That was like a big deal.
And you're right.
Like, oh, man.
He was drafted 12th round.
12th round.
3 to the Steelers.
I knew it. That's probably why I remember too, because it was the Steelers.
But I just remember they said he had a cannon.
Oh no, he could sling it. No, I tell you what he didn't like to do. Oh, he never liked to check it down to the running backs. I'm like, dude, I'm open every play. just throw it, dude. I can run with it. And then he finally did it against Nova, and I scored. I was like, Courtney, see, it's got to throw to the backs. But those guys, they like to throw it downfield. They had Dids and Breezy. They're like, yo, we got to get it downfield.
Matthew Brown has a little Wikipedia page.
Yeah.
They played 1 year with the Connecticut Coyotes, I guess, which was Arena.
Mm-hmm.
I guess maybe he didn't get drafted, I guess.
I don't think Matt got drafted.
He got a chance, I think, because I remember reading something that he was he has like every record. Until
he was a good player, man.
Right? Shane might have broke some. Yeah. I have to look that all up. I forget. And then
I got a boogie though, dude.
I think what's his name broke everybody's record.
Who's that?
The guy who was Orlovsky.
The guy who ran out of the back of the end zone? That guy?
Do you remember? You know that, right?
I've seen him. Yeah, he's good. He's doing well for himself. Good for him. Do you remember out of the back of the end zone? Like, I'm like the one guy.
Stop laughing.
I'm like, come on, it's UConn. Come on, like, really, dude? You got to represent.
That's the first thing they say. They're like, quarterback from UConn. I'm like, what does that have anything to do with it?
I know, dude. Can you not run out of the back of the end zone, Dan? Come on, bro.
You know they're going to say it's because he's from UConn. You know
I know.
They love UConn has such a unique name. That they love to bring it up and like rip it. Chuck Noll, lineman. Tom Landry, running back. And also a pro player.
And that's why I like Landry. Anyway, let me go, bro. I got a boogie, man. Thank you, Dave. Yeah. End the show. Do it.
It was fun,
guys. Thanks for having me. Talk to you soon, brother.
Have a great day, brother.
Later.
All right. So great stuff. I've been covering Tom Landry and Chuck Noll. I mean, we're going back to like old school guys here. But I think this is so cool, like how you see two legendary coaches, and then we're diving into like where these guys not just come from, but like how they made it and how there's kind of a ton of similarities just evolved in today's game of how it's happened. But I mean, he was a pro football player. If you look at many of the NFL coaches today, a lot of them were pro players, a lot of the successful ones, but a lot aren't. But back then, a lot of these guys basically probably to get some sort of job, they were able to go right from being a pro football player like Tom Landry and just start out as a coach. And obviously legendary coach he was, just like the Big Tuna for the Giants going and Bill Parcells going and being a pro coach. I'm pretty sure these guys being able to get in right away and having that opportunity. So cool. Such a cool story. Really good topic today. A little shorter podcast today, but it was a good one for Big Mondays, Football in the Kitchen Sink. If any of you guys want to subscribe the show, please do it. It helps with our algorithm. We'd love to have you get more and more of this content sent your way because it's really cool. We do the show every Monday. We try to start at 8:30 a.m. Depends on when we get rolling. But like and subscribe really helps. You can just click it right below and see the show until next Monday for Big Mondays. And obviously, right now we're in the NCAA tournament. Enjoy the NCAA tournament. Enjoy the basketball. You got FCS football going on. It's a pretty unique time period with all that going on. Until next time on Big Mondays for Football and the Kitchen Sink, we'll run a contest soon. So if you watch the show, we sent out a bunch of T-shirts the first time. We're going to send out some more coming up. So if you DM at Coach Schuman on Twitter and you're interested in a T-shirt, Football in the Kitchen Sink, send me your information. I do have to say, sometimes guys get upset that I didn't see their DM, and because I get a lot of DMs, and they didn't get a shirt. Just keep writing me, okay? Just because you send me one message, and this always goes for with college coaches as well. Don't DM a college coach once and think that he should see your stuff. Same thing. I get so many DMs, a lot of DMs, which is cool. I love the interaction. But sometimes I miss people's DMs. So DM me again. If you got to DM me 3 times with your address, do it, and I'll get it out to you, okay? Because I don't see every single message. Sometimes I miss them. All right, don't get upset. Don't get mad. Just send me another DM and request it, and I'll take care of it for you. Okay, that's the smart way to do it. And when you're dealing with college coaches, don't just DM once and hope and pray. Make sure you DM them once a month. If they didn't respond to you, send your video to them. Do it again. Send your video to them with your information, with your contact. Do it again. Send them links. Show them that you're that interested. Reach out in multiple ways. That's how you get people's attention. Okay? You got to make sure that you reach out. So if you're interested in a shirt, send it to me. Hopefully I see it the first time. If I don't, send it to me again. I'll get you a shirt, and it's free. Isn't that great? It's free. Have a great day. Like and subscribe. Football in the Kitchen Sink. See you next Monday.